often talk about making a bigger contribution in the world, and so do you have a sense of what contribution your music, your songs, the gift that you give for people who retain your services to do a song? Do you have a sense of?
Yeah, although it's interesting when you ask that, I thought of a couple different things. One is, there's the obvious thing, which is somebody's asking for a song because they want to feel a certain way or communicate a certain thing. And the happy news for me is it just pretty much never fails. Like, there's nothing like the email or the phone call that I get after someone has given the song to whoever they were going to give it to. That's like, "You'll never believe it, she was so amazed," or, you know, we just stared there into each other's eyes for an hour afterward, or whatever. So there's always that immediate, like, there, I did what I set out to do. But, you know, really, the thing that has most blown me away about doing this is not so much that, but that I get these emails sometimes from people, I don't know them, I'll never hear from them again, but thanks to the internet, because people forward songs, you know, I have a website where songs go out once a month with a little story, and you just don't know where they're going to journey to.
Right.
But I'll get emails, you know, it happens about once a week at this point, that someone will say, "I stumbled upon this song of yours, and it's exactly where I am right now, and it's just opened this door, and I'm feeling things I haven't felt before, or it gave me the courage to go do X or Y or Z." And, you know, I wasn't thinking of that person when I wrote it. I didn't know that this would help them in that way, but that blows my mind, that I could create something from a good place inside of myself, and that it would take on wings, and it would just end up in these places. I've had a bunch of emails sometimes because I'll find out a song was used at a retreat center for something, and a bunch of people in North Carolina at this retreat, or, you know, wherever they might be, say, "Boy, you can't imagine what happened in this room when we played this song." So it's like
rewarding.
It's doing a kind of a good that I wasn't even calculating to do, and man, there's nothing like that. That's just a really it just makes me feel like, how did I get so lucky to be doing something that, you know, don't tell anyone, but I would practically pay someone to let me do, you know, and then for there to actually be value in the world, and not only an income from it, but all these sort of freebies out there. That's just so cool to me. I just love that.
So sometimes our gifts are we do for free, right? Because we can't help ourselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're fortunate to have our dreams be something we can actually do for a living. Sometimes they're a hobby, sometimes they're a living. And I loved the picture I had was the pebble in the pond.
Yeah.
You know, you write a song and then it continues to
go?
have benefits over time. So the journey is never done, and I imagine it's not done for you either. And so what
Hope
hope not too. And so what are the things that you think about or that you struggle with now as you're thinking about what's next for you?
You know, when I think about the struggle piece, it probably has less to do with what will happen next, because I do believe when you're kind of following your heart and doing what your heart wants to be doing, that the future has a really nice way of just kind of presenting things. So I feel less than ever like I need to steer my career future kind of thing. But there is a struggle that I do have, and it's a really funny one, and it is that even though I've been doing this for a long time now, like 10 or 11 years, there's this moment where I've just finished the interview with somebody, either by phone or in person or whatever, and I've sat down to write the song. And there's this moment, you think I'd be over this by now, where my brain kicks in and I think, how can I fix it for this person? Or what should this song say? Or what do they need to hear? Can I think my way into what this should be? And what I find over and over again is when I start following that road of trying to think my way into it or fix it or make the perfect song, that it's not a very fruitful road, and that when I can sort of stop, take a breath, and get out of the way and just create a safe landing space for a song to show up, then it does. It always does. So you'd think I'd sort of save myself the trouble of thinking about it first, but there's always this little period where I'm kind of in a struggle with myself. Like my brain wants to take over and write a certain song that I think should happen, and probably my heart in that metaphor is waiting for that to quiet, and then the song itself will show up. So often a song almost shows up like full blown, and there is kind of a feeling, an ego feeling of, well, I didn't work hard enough on that, or where did that come from? Do I really get credit for that? But that is the struggle, and I think I've gotten a lot better at it. But you know that experience that I'm talking about, that's sort of like you try to think your way into something versus you make space for it and you kind of let it come through.
The difference, I think, between intuition, using your head, and using your heart.
Yeah.
And we can't always use our heart through all of what we do. Well, I don't know that that's actually true.
It's good to try, but I don't know if you can.
I think it's a toolbox.
Yeah.
And there are times to use our head and times to use our heart. And the challenge is to know when to use either, or both. And so in the last few minutes we have, is there something you'd like to leave our audience with?
Sure. Let's see. I guess one is I can remember pretty vividly what it felt like when I was living my life and my job and my whatever relationships I had before I had made room for, and I think the word you use, gift, is a good word. Gift, like really, there's something I'm able to do because I got a present from someplace in the universe that lets me do it. And I can remember pretty clearly how it felt when I was composing a life in the absence of having made space for that gift. And I know what it feels like to be composing a life where I have made space for that gift, where I honor it and believe in it, and during a dry spell, coax it along or whatever else. And so I think my word of encouragement to anybody who's out there listening and thinking about this and thinking about how it might apply to themselves is that there's such great value in stopping everything and creating even just little spaces in your life for the unknown, for breathing room, for exploring and moving into places that feel unknown but feel, as you described, just comfortable and good. And I would encourage anybody and everybody to think about, what would it mean to make a little more space in my life for the gifts that I don't yet know about?
Yeah, that's so great. Well, thank you for
Oh, thank
being
you.
here. So great to have you.